Welcome in this second class regarding the ICDS main exam from Dronas. What is the first class we discussed about the human digestive system in Bengali. In the second class we'll discuss about the vitamins. You know that vitamins is very much important for the nutrition chapter itself. It can be the question may come from the deficiency tests of vitamin with deficiency causes or what is the cause of deficiency, what they affect in the body. This kind of questions are very common and very much expected for your ICDS exam. So let's start with this. So, vitamins and minerals both are considered as a body protective food for human beings, or it is called as a immunogenic food. Immunogenic food, because these elements, vitamins and minerals both, these elements don't give us energy and they don't form any muscle or blood like the protein. These are not bodybuilding element or not the energy giving food. Vitamins are either neither bodybuilding food nor they are the energy giving food. But without the vitamins, without the minerals, the systems of the body, all the physiological system of the body cannot work properly. Cannot work properly. So it is called as the that is why it is called as the body protective food or the immunogenic food. It is called as the body protective food or the immunogenic food. This keeps us healthy. This keeps us healthy. And as the vitamins and minerals are utilized in our body in a very minor amount, in a very small amount, so that is these are called as the micro elements. That is why they are called as the micro element, because they are consumed in our body in a very tiny amount, in a very small increments. Okay. Now these vitamins, how the vitamins actually work in our body, what role they play in our body. The vitamins are type of biochemicals which we require to consume the little amount with our diet, as these are mostly not synthesizable in our cell. Vitamins work either in catalytic or regulatory way to influence and control the vital reactions or metabolisms in the cells of our body. That is, vitamins play the regulatory role or the catalytic role in the reaction of the body. In the cells of our body, we have plenty of reaction going on. It, at every moment, each and every cell of our body is experiencing different kind of reaction on them. Say for example, the respiration. Each and every cell have to respire the glucose to get the energy. This kind of reactions that take place in our cells, all the cells, not a single cell, all the cells of our body experience different kind of reactions in them. These reactions altogether is called as metabolism. Okay, and the role of vitamin or the minerals is to play as a catalyst in this reaction, or to control the rate of these reactions by stimulating or inhibiting some enzymes or hormones. The vitamins and minerals work as a cofactor or they work as a catalyst with the reaction. Okay, this is the role they play, and that is why if we are deficient of any one of them, if we are deficient of say vitamin A, we are deficient of vitamin B1, this deficiency will actually affect in the metabolism of the body, and that will result in a deformity, or not deformity but disorders. Some disorders will be there. Okay, so let's start with the first. We will start the water soluble vitamin. Vitamins can be of two type: water soluble and fat soluble. That is, crossly say we can say water soluble vitamins are the vitamins that we can expect with the fruits and vegetables, which are aqueous food, and fat and lipid soluble vitamins are the vitamins which we can expect mostly from animal proteins or animal products which contain fat in them. Okay, or fatty oils like coconut oil, these things. Okay. First we will discuss the water soluble vitamin. There is a B complex and vitamin C. Achha. The water soluble vitamins, there is an advantage for them in comparison to fat soluble vitamin. Water soluble vitamins has an advantage. What is the advantage? As they are water soluble and blood also contain water, the plasma part of our brain of our blood is mostly water. So as the blood is water based and these soluble vitamins are water soluble, this B complex and C are water soluble, that is why these vitamins can readily absorb in the blood as soon as we consume them. Water soluble vitamins are easy to absorb from the food because they can get into water, and blood contain water. This is the advantage. Fat soluble vitamins, first they are stored in the liver or in our fatty tissues. From there they are released in the blood. As they are not readily soluble in water, blood contain water in them. So fat soluble vitamins are not easily absorbed in the blood. But water soluble vitamins, as they are water soluble and blood contain water, so they are readily absorbable or readily taken up from the food into the blood. This is the advantage. But disadvantage is that as they are water soluble, these can be easily excreted with urine. These vitamins, vitamin B complex and C, these can be easily excreted with urine. Whenever they become extra, say if I have some extra vitamin C in my diet, this extra vitamin cannot be stored for future because it will come out with the urine. But in case of fat soluble vitamins, mostly vitamin D or vitamin A, these things, when they become extra, they can be stored in the liver or other tissue of the body, in fatty tissue of the body for future. But water soluble vitamins cannot be stored for the future. They will come out with the urine, except vitamin B12. We'll discuss this later. Now, first come to the vitamin B1, or its chemical name is thiamine. The thiamine or B1 is mostly utilized in the carbohydrate metabolism of the body. That is the process by which our body metabolizes the glucose or other carbohydrate to get energy. This carbohydrate metabolism include or involve the assistance of vitamin B1 or thiamine, and it is also used for it is also needed for the activity of nerve. Nervous activity is also stimulated by or helped by the vitamin B1. We need the source. The most important thing from these vitamins are the source, their chemical name, and their disease. Source is a very important thing to know. What is the source of vitamin B1? It may come from the legumes, that is pulses, lentil or moong or rajma. This kind of legumes are the source of vitamin B1. Meat, in flesh, we may have little amount of vitamin B1, but legume is a better source than meat. Grains, that means cereals, in case of cereals, in maize, in wheat, in oat, in grains, and in nuts and yeast. Yeast means the bakery product, in bakery product, and nuts. These are main sources of vitamin B1. Remember one thing: all the natural food, all the vegetables or fruits, maybe most probably all the natural foods mostly contain all vitamins and minerals in them, mostly. Okay, but we are talking about the special source, that is this particular source which contain comparatively greater amount of this. Say for example, we may have vitamin B1 in say spinach or in egg, but the amount is very less. But in comparison to this general food, these foods which I have given here, meat, legume, grains, nuts, and yeast, these have a little more percentage of vitamin B1 in them. It is a importance, but it is not the meaning that other than these foods we don't have any vitamin B1. Because there is no intention to say that there is no vitamin B1 in egg. There is no vitamin B1 in any vegetable. Okay, the meaning is that these foods contain more vitamin B1 than other. This is a logic. Okay. Deficiency of vitamin B1, very important. Deficiency of vitamin B1 causes beriberi. There are two kinds of beriberi we can suffer from. One is wet beriberi, one is dry beriberi. The wet beriberi is a disease of the heart and circulation. Basically, what happens in wet beriberi, the volume of blood increases, the amount of water in blood increases. So as the volume of blood increases, the heart have to pump more, and that is why the valve of the heart, the bicuspid and tricuspid valve on the heart, they can become leaky. They cannot, as they have to work over duty. They have to do over duty. They taste more because of increased blood volume. These valves may become leaky. They cannot properly lock the blood flow, backflow of the blood, and it also affects the arteries and veins. They become more inelastic due to pressure. They become inelastic, and ultimately, if untreated, the wet beriberi can lead to cardiac failure. Okay, but there the another kind of symptom can occur from the deficiency of vitamin B1. That is the beriberi dry beriberi. This is a disease of nerve mostly. Nervous coordination is problematic. Coordination of nerve coordination, motor coordination, this become problematic, and which gradually lead to, if untreated, if we don't treat this nerve disorder at the very beginning, gradually this will lead to the permanent muscle paralysis, because the movement of the muscle, the movement of leg, hand, these muscles are under the control of nerve. So if the nerve, I said the deficiency of vitamin B1 causes problem in the nerve coordination. That means the coordination of nerve impulse with the muscles. If we don't care it properly from the beginning, finally it will lead to the permanent disabling or deformity of the muscle or paralysis. Okay. Daily requirement is not so important. Daily requirement is not common in your exam, but still it is given to give you an idea how much they are consumed. It is given only to give you an idea how much amount of vitamins work. Look at here, the vitamin B1 work at a concentration of only 1.1 milligram or 1.2 milligram in male. In a entire day, only 1.1 milligram vitamin B1 is enough. Okay, these are used in such low amount. Now come to vitamin B2 or riboflavin. It is also involved in the lipid metabolism of the body. Lipid means fat. The way our cells utilize or break down the fat is called lipid metabolism. And as lipids can give us energy, so it is also involved, we can say, with the energy generation. Vitamin B2 is involved with the energy generation by controlling the lipid breakdown. Again, the source is very important. Vitamin B2 are mostly common in lean meat. Lean meat means meat with less fat. Lean meat. Lean meat, liver, kidney, eggs, low fat milk, broccoli, spinach, asparagus. These are common sources of vitamin B2 where we can find them in slightly more amount. The deficiency disorder of vitamin B2 is the angular cheilitis. That is the we may experience that sometimes we have some sore or some lesion at the angle of our mouth, at the lip. At the angle of the lip, we may have some lesions. These are called as the angular cheilitis. These occur due to the deficiency of vitamin B1, and it also affects in the oral health. Lack of vitamin B2 or riboflavin may cause blisters in your tongue or lip. The blisters or inflammation in the tongue is called as the glossitis. The blister in the lip is called as the stomatitis. Okay, but main disease cheilitis, the lesion or wound at the angle of mouth. Okay, daily requirement again, it is not needed, I said, but it's the idea, 1.1 milligram to 1.3 milligram. Okay. Next, B3 or niacin, very very important vitamin, niacin or niacinic acid, also said. It helps in the carbohydrate or non-carbohydrate metabolism to glucose. At the time of emergency, say if I am starving for a long hour, then I have a deficiency of I have a deficiency of glucose in my cell. If we starve for a long time, we may have deficiency of glucose in our cell, and due to the deficiency of glucose, the cells will not get proper energy by respiration. At that kind of situation, the vitamin B3 or niacin will break down the non-carbohydrate to glucose to make glucose. There is a provision in our body when we lack anything, when we lack glucose, our body may have an option to make glucose or carbohydrate from fat or protein. It is not regular, but there is an option for that, and that option is turned on the deficiency of vitamin in the deficiency of glucose in the blood. If we have deficiency of glucose in the blood due to starvation or other thing, then this vitamin, this B3, will start to metabolize, start to break down with the help of this vitamin, not this vitamin. This vitamin will help to initiate the process to break down the fat we have in our body, the proteins we have in our body, and from this protein or this fat, our cells will produce the glucose. And for this whole process, vitamin B3 is required as a stimulant, as a catalyst. And as this fat glucose gives us energy, I said, so this will also gives us energy, is involved in the energy metabolism. Okay, and in addition to this thing, niacin is also involved in the nerve functioning, and also involved in the formation of skin and these things. The source of vitamin B3 are fish, chicken, turkey, it's poultry meat, we can say poultry meat, porks, beefs, mushroom, green pea, peanuts, avocados, these things, brown rice, these things. These are common sources of vitamin B3, and the deficiency of B3 or niacin causes pellagra. Now, pellagra is a multi-fold disease. We can say the symptoms of pellagra cover many things or cover many system or distributed in many system of our body. The deficiency symptom of vitamin B3 or niacin or the symptom for pellagra can be headed as 3D. The symptoms that we will suffer from due to the lack of vitamin B3 can be said as the 3D deficiency or 3D symptom. What is the 3D? The first D is the dermatitis or skin problem. Second D can be diarrhea or the problem of digestion. And the third D is the forgetting. That is the severe form of forgetting. That is the problem of nerve. Okay. These 3D, dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia together is called as 3D. The typical symptom of pellagra involve this 3D symptom: problem of the skin, problem of the I said the digestion, and problem of the nerve or brain. Okay, daily recommend 14 milligram for female and 60 milligram for male. This is slightly higher recommend for there for niacin. Niacin is very much important for our body. Next, B3 or folic acid. B3 and folic acid is mostly needed for women than men. Women need B9 or folic acid more than male, and it is mostly involved in the metabolism of or formation of RBC. It is involved in the RBC maturation or RBC formation, and that is why the deficiency of vitamin B9 causes anemia, mild anemia, and as a result of anemia, there is low oxygen content in the blood, so we will suffer from the tiredness or shortness of breath. These things. Its common sources are green leafy vegetables, green and leaf content vegetables like cabbage, like spinach, like lettuce, these things. And whole grain also is a source of vitamin B9. Nowadays, the government may provide, you have seen probably, government is providing vitamin B9 or folic acid tablet to the girls in the school age, in the middle upper primary age. The government is providing vitamin B9 or folic acid and iron tablet to the girls to keep them from the anemia, child age anemia. Okay, there is a folic acid, there is a folate tablet, vitamin B9 tablet. With it, we also have some iron supplement in the tablet. Next, vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin. Vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin. This is involved in the amino acid and fatty acid metabolism or breakdown in the body, and it is also involved in the cell division and blood formation. Deficiency of vitamin B12 causes pernicious anemia. Pernicious means severe, or severe form of anemia may happen due to the malformation of the hemoglobin or without any hemoglobin in the body. With the deficiency of B12, our cells will not be able, our bone marrow will not be able to produce adequate amount of hemoglobin. We will suffer from anemia, severe form of anemia. Okay, it's a common source. The common sources are fish, meat, poultry, and eggs. Commonly, we can expect the vitamin B12 in the fish, meat, poultry, and eggs, and it is an exceptional thing in the vitamin B complex. Vitamin B12 is the only water soluble vitamin. Vitamin B12 is the only water soluble vitamin which is primarily found from the animal product, not from the plant product. All the vitamin B complex or C, we have at least few, two or three at least, we have plant sources. And as I said, the water soluble vitamins are expected from plant sources because they contain water in them. The exception is the B2, B12 or cyanocobalamin. It is solely, we can say, it is solely obtained from the plant animal product. It is a exceptional thing for the water soluble vitamins. Okay. Achha. This vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin require cobalt for the formation. This cobalamin came from the cobalt. So it is a very common question in exam. Which vitamin require cobalt for the formation, for synthesis? Answer is B12. B12 need the cobalt to form its structure. That is why it is called as the cyanocobalamin. It is called as the cyanocobalamin. Okay. So these are the end of vitamin B complex. Now we'll go to the vitamin C. Remember that vitamin B complex may contain other things also. There is also vitamin B5 and B6. But I am not discussing that because these are not so important. I am not discussing this because these are not so important. We are moving to the vitamin C. Vitamin C is very, very, very important in our body. Plenty of body activity, plenty of reaction of the body depend on the vitamin C. Some of the most important functions of vitamin C are: first one, it is an antioxidant. Vitamin C can remove the metabolic waste or the, you can say, the free radicals from the body, and that is why it acts as an antioxidant, or in simple, in layman language, you can say antioxidant means the chemicals which prevent or delay the effect of aging. Vitamin C can be said as anti-aging because vitamin C can scavenge the free radicals of the from the body cells, or they can scavenge the metabolic waste from the body cells, which are the cause for the aging process actually. So simply we can say vitamin C is an anti-aging vitamin. It is an antioxidant. The second is vitamin C is very much important or very much required to form the collagen protein in the body. Now, the collagen protein is the most abundant protein in the human body. Collagen protein is the most common or the most abundant protein in the human body. To form our skin, to form our muscle, to form our cartilage, to form our blood proteins, all the places in the body we need collagen protein. Collagen is everywhere in our body, in our muscle, in our bone, in our cartilage, everywhere. And this collagen is stimulated by the vitamin C. That is why we can say it's a very common question. Vitamin C is helping. Vitamin C will help in the wound healing process. Wound healing process. If I have an wound or cut in a body surface, vitamin C will help to heal this wound at a very first level because it will help to form the collagen protein and will cover up the space, the wound. Another very important function of vitamin C is it helps in the iron absorption. You know that iron is needed to form the hemoglobin and some other pigment in the body, some other hormones or other enzymes from the body. This iron is absorbed from the food with the help of vitamin C. Without vitamin C, the absorption capacity of iron of our body will be very low. These are one of a few of the functions of vitamin C. There are other roles of vitamin C also, but these are the common or most important functions of vitamin C. Sources, as you all know, the sources of vitamin C are the sour fruits, mostly the lemons, the tomatoes, the chilies. These things are common source, and also the leafy vegetables like spinach and cabbage. Deficiency of vitamin C typically causes scurvy, is a disorder of the gum. Gum becomes swollen and bleeding comes from it, and then it will gradually will lose the sockets of the teeth and the teeth will erupt. But primarily it is a disease of gum. And also in the lack of vitamin C, we have stiff joints. We'll have problem to move our say elbow or knees, these things. Okay, vitamin C is needed most probably at a highest rate than other vitamins. And as I said in other things, they are recommended 2.4 microgram or 40 microgram like this. But vitamin C is required in milligram. In 75 milligram to 90 milligram per day, we need the vitamin C. It is one of the vitamin which is required at a highest amount in the body, and that is why it is also available from most of the sources because it is not problematic because many fruits and vegetables we have vitamin C in them. And when this vitamin C become extra, there's plenty of event can occur. Probably in all day our diet, a normal diet may have some extra vitamin C in them, as there are plenty of sources in nature. So we may have excess vitamin C intake per every day. But this excess vitamin C will not cause any problem and will not be stored in the body. I said it will come out with the urine. It will come out with the urine. Okay. So these are the water soluble vitamin. Now we will move to the fat soluble vitamin. As I said, that fat soluble vitamins can be stored in the body, mostly in liver. Vitamin A, vitamin D, these things can be stored in liver. But the problem I said, as they are fat soluble, so they are not readily absorbed in the blood. blood contain mostly water. So the what fat soluble vitamins, that is ADEK, they need carrier proteins to transport them in the blood. Okay, first we'll discuss the vitamin A or retinol. It is involved in the formation of retina of eye, where we have the image formed. So vitamin A is necessary for the health of eye. It is also help to maintain the healthy skin. It is it will help to form the fetus, that is the embryo development. It will help to form the immunity part. Not only vitamin C, vitamin A. Vitamin C is another. I have forgotten that vitamin C is also important to form the immunity. Okay. With that, vitamin A will also provide some role in the immunity formation. And like the vitamin C, it is also a scavenger of vitamin of free radicals. That is the aging chemicals. So, like the vitamin C, we can say vitamin A is also an anti-aging. We can say it helps in the anti-aging process. Like the vitamin C, vitamin A is also used in the immunity. As I said, vitamin C has a wound healing capacity. Like that, vitamin A also has a immunity effect in them. But it will not help in the wound healing because vitamin A will not help in the collagen formation. Sources, as I say, it is stored in the liver, fatty fishes, fish oil is found in fish oils, fish liver oils, these things. Deficiency causes mild deficiency of vitamin A. Mild deficiency will cause night blindness. That means problem in vision in low light condition. But if we have severe deficiency or chronic deficiency of vitamin A, that will cause the xerophthalmia. It is a permanent blindness. It will damage the retina of the eye permanently. It is a permanent blindness. But this is a problem of eye where a person is unable to see in low light condition. But it can be treatable. But if night blindness is not treated, it will be chronic and will form the xerophthalmia, which is not treatable anymore. Okay. Next, vitamin D. It is called as the calciferol. Its main function is to absorb the calcium and phosphorus from the blood. The phosphorus and the calcium we get from the food get into the blood, and from blood, vitamin D absorb them into the bones and teeth to form them. So the deficiency of vitamin D will cause bone problems, ricket in the growing age. If I am lacking vitamin D or calciferol in a growing age, my bones will not be solid or bones will not be hard. And due to this thing, due to the body weight of the upper portion, mostly the bones of leg will bend up and will cause ricket. In mature ages, after the puberty, after the maturity, if we lack vitamin D in our diet, this will lead to osteomalacia and osteoporosis. Both are bone related problem. Malfunctioning of bone tissue, soft bone or the fragile bone will be there. Its sources are again like the vitamin A, fatty fishes, fish liver oil, beef liver or liver of any red meat, egg, yolk, these things. Okay. Achha, vitamin D is the only vitamin that can be synthesized in our body. When exposed to sunlight, vitamin D can be synthesized from a particular kind of fat present beneath our skin called as the 7-dehydrocholesterol. 7-dehydrocholesterol or simple cholesterol is there. When our skin is exposed to the UV light, this 7-dehydrocholesterol will break down to form the calciferol. This vitamin D can be produced in our body, and as the vitamin D can be produced in our body, some of the workers have to say that vitamin D is not a vitamin, actually it is a hormone, because in true sense the true vitamins, as I discussed earlier, the vitamin B1, B2, B3, these things, B C, true vitamins should not be synthesized in the body. True vitamins should not be synthesized in the body, but vitamin D, beyond any doubt, can be produced in our body. So many scientists prefer to call the vitamin D as a hormone, not a vitamin. There was a question in staff session actually once, that which vitamin is called as a hormone, like that. What is the logic behind that? Because vitamin D can be produced in the body. True vitamin should not be produced in the body. Okay. Vitamin E or tocopherol. It is mostly important to maintain the health of skin and hair. That is why most of the um, hair oils, there will have picture of almond in them, because almond is a rich source of vitamin E. Not only almond, all the nuts actually a rich source of vitamin E, but almond has most amount of vitamin E in them. That is why the hair oils mostly have the diagram of or picture of almond in them. It helps in hair formation, skin health maintenance, etc. Deficiency of vitamin E causes hair fall, flaky skin, or weakness of muscle. These things. Okay. Vitamin E is used to maintain the health of skin and hair mostly. Vitamin K or phyloquinone. It is used to clot the blood at the site of wound. If I have a cut any place in our body, the blood start to comes out. If we cannot stop this blood, all the bloods we have will come out, will drain out of the body. So I have to stop this blood, stop this bleeding by formation of blood clot. Now, initially the blood clot formation is started by the activity of platelets from the blood. But with the platelets, the calcium cation and vitamin K will help. Without calcium and vitamin K, only platelets cannot manage the thing. So it is called as the anti-phyloquinone is called as the anti-bleeding anti-bleeding vitamin. It stop the bleeding. Common sources of green vegetables like spinach, the broccoli, turnip green, mustard green, these things, cabbage, lettuce, these things, and also in smaller amount in fish and meat, eggs. Okay, these are the end for today's class. Hopefully, in the next class, we will see again and we will start a new topic then. Thank you for today. Thank you for today. Best of luck to all of you.